Hey everyone, welcome to our webinar, Get Results with Sales Incentives. I'm your webinar host, Becca Pittman, and this webinar is presented by Levy Recognition. So joining me today is Jim Kilmetis, our Hinda Business Development Director, who helps us analyze your situation and brings the right resources to build a solution that is just right for you. He helped me put together today's webinar along with Rick Neely. Rick Neely is one of Hinda's marketing directors and a recognized expert on sales and channel incentives. He has over 30 years of experience working with companies of all sizes and in a variety of industries to develop non-cash incentive programs to improve sales performance with both employee sales forces as well as channel partners. Over the years, he's worked with automotive clients, agriculture and construction equipment manufacturers, computer and software companies, pharmaceutical clients, and he's even helped some of the country's largest wholesale distributors develop programs. He's been certified and honored by the Incentive Marketing Association, and he helped get a lot of the content for today's webinar. So let's get started today with a look at what you're going to learn. So first you'll learn why companies use non-cash rewards. After all, most companies pay salespeople a commission or a bonus for sales, so why do they need to give them stuff to get them to do more? And then next we're going to look at how professional incentive planners prepare for a successful program. Maximizing engagement is essential to achieving your programs. We're going to offer some tips on how to get your participants involved. And then finally, we're going to discuss some metrics you should be paying attention to. These will help you see if your program is on track or if it maybe needs some adjustments. And along the way, we'll even tell you a success story or two. So let's get started. A sales incentive program is designed to achieve a client's goals by encouraging their direct sales force, and by that I mean salespeople who are their employees, to change their behaviors in some fashion. Now, many companies go to market through independent reseller channels. These are people who represent the companies, but they aren't actual employees. So like auto dealers, insurance agents, distributors, and resellers are all what you'd call channel partners. And they have sales employees their partners want to influence. Channel incentives try to get the discretionary time and attention of these channel partners. So if you're trying to influence employee salespeople, you're developing a sales incentive program. And if you're trying to engage your dealer or distributor network with the program, we call it a channel incentive. A couple of years ago, the Incentive Federation did a study on the marketplace for non-cash incentives. They found that each year, over $23 billion is spent just on the rewards in non-cash sales incentive programs. And over 60% of U.S. companies run non-cash sales incentive programs for their own salespeople. But that's not all. An additional $17 billion is spent each year rewarding channel partners with non-cash incentives, and over 40% of U.S. companies operate channel programs. They use these programs to get the time and discretionary attention of their dealers, distributors, agents, and resellers. While their sales programs concentrate on their own sales employees, these programs focus the attention of their independent distribution partners. Now, we could spend a lot of time talking about a whole bunch of behavioral psychologists here. We could discuss B.F. Skinner's work, or Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or dive into some of Daniel Kahneman's or Richard Thaler's theories. But suffice it to say, organizations spend money on non-cash incentive programs, whether they're trying to engage their own salespeople or channel partners, because they can actually see the measurable lift in sales and or profits from them. These programs gamify the sales experience. They help people set goals aligned with corporate objectives. They create a sense of urgency with a specific start and stop date. So it's like, you have to act now or you're going to miss out. Salespeople tend to get in a comfort zone, so their sales tend to plateau as they become comfortable earning a certain amount of money. But these programs encourage them to stretch beyond that comfortable plateau for a short time. And the best part is that after the program is over, the sales reps have a new comfort plateau that is higher than their previous one. Non-cash programs also get the family involved, either in helping set goals or in recognizing accomplishments. If your child has been wanting a new bike and you promise to get it for them through the program, you're not going to stop selling until you get it for them. Then when it shows up at the door, you're a hero for earning it. And decades of research has consistently found that a non-cash program can generate the same increase in performance of a program that rewards cash for 3 to 5 times less than you would pay out in cash. Plus, these programs don't become entitlements. When the non-cash program is over, it's over. But when you try to cut the commission on a new product, it feels to your sales team like they're taking money out of their pocket. So that's why you use non-cash. Let's talk about how you build one of these programs. So the first step in creating a sales or channel incentive program is what we call solution development. The solution development phase looks at 3 key areas: defining the goal, selecting the participant who can most directly and most efficiently move the needle, and building the rules of a program that will help the participants understand what they are supposed to do and align their goals with the organization's objectives. This means objectively looking at the current situation and the organization's goals to create the right program to generate the desired result. Now that we have solution specialists with years of experience to help clients do this, but there are plenty of companies that decide to do this by themselves. Some of the areas that will be considered are products to include, the time frame for the program, the competitive landscape, the effort required from individual participants to move the needle, and the value of the reward necessary to encourage that effort, and any budget parameters you have for the program investment. So the first step in solution development is defining your goals. This is what the program should achieve. A well-defined goal provides the roadmap of where you're going and will help you determine what you need to get there. When we talk about program goals, oftentimes people automatically think very high level. So the goal is like increasing sales. I mean, after all, these are sales incentive programs, right? Or maybe the overriding goal is to increase profits. But let's face it, you could say that just about anything a company does has a goal of increasing profit. Whether it's improving productivity or consolidating purchases to reduce costs or increasing overall sales, all of these things are done to improve profits. So when you think about performance-based sales or channel incentive programs, structure your goals like the acronym SMART. So they need to be very specific. For example, your goal is sell an X number of units of our new product within 60 days after launch. So this is very specific in what they need to sell. It is measurable because you're selling X number of products. It should be attainable. So is it possible that they could sell X number of products in 60 days? And is that really realistic? And then is it time bound? So this one is within 60 days. So program goals with attributes like these make it simple to develop a program that aligns your participants' objectives with your own corporate goals. And when everyone's working together, you're way more likely to hit the mark. But performance-based goals like these aren't all that companies want to accomplish with their incentive programs. Some goals are soft and more difficult to measure, but they are known to generate results. I'm sure you've all seen programs that only recognize the top performers. Companies use programs like President's Clubs or Honor Circle or the Chairman's Council to recognize their top sales and channel partners. The unstated goal of most of these programs is retention. So having your top sales rep suddenly quit and move to a competitor or if your top channel partner decided to no longer carry your line, it could be disastrous. At the very least, it would seriously disrupt your business. So top performer programs provide another reason for people to continue working or continue doing business with a client. Additionally, they can also be listening strategies to learn market conditions from your frontline personnel. You can communicate how top performers succeed to help others in your organizations emulate their behaviors. But these programs normally have limited potential to increase sales simply because your top performers are probably already giving you 100%. And if you're going to recognize only 5% of your people, over 90% of eligible participants will not actively engage with the program, knowing that they virtually have no chance to earn. So at some point, you're going to need to translate your program or corporate goals to objectives for your participants. So when you're assigning participant goals, remember the 3 M's. The goals must be meaningful to the participant. So like our products and services improve their business at a great value. So our goal is to increase the number of customers who purchase them in the coming quarter. And you're responsible for selling these products. When you encourage more customers to buy our products, your customer wins, you win, our employees win, and our investors all win. Make it meaningful. The goal must also be movable by the person that's actually assigned the goal. So giving a sales rep who's only responsible for getting customer orders a goal of delivering all those orders within 2 working days doesn't really make sense. They get the orders, but then they turn them over to someone else who ships them out. So it's an unmovable goal for them. You should be giving them goals that encourage them to generate more orders, so they can talk with more customers to move the needle on that. Having a goal doesn't make any difference if you can't measure the participant's impact on it. Lots of companies want to improve customer satisfaction, but if you gave all sales reps a 100% customer satisfaction goal, do you have a way to actually measure that? If you can't measure it down to the individual you're trying to influence, you can't influence them to take actions that will improve performance. Make sure that you have a way to verifiable and trusted way to measure each of your participant goals. You will be trying to choose the people who can most directly impact the program goals. You're going to want to engage those people who can move the needle to hit the goals that you're trying to accomplish in the shortest amount of time possible. So that might be your own sales reps and sales managers, the salespeople who work for your distribution partners. Don't forget about the customer service reps or installers. Often they add new services to existing customers or provide referrals. And channel owners, principals, and managers can decide to shift stock, which could realize results for you almost immediately. But don't just think about the titles of the people that you want to include in your program, but think about which people you'd like to engage. Most organizations can divide their sales team or channel partners into a bell curve where about 20% of them are top performers and they're generating a significant share of your volume. Another 60% are mid-level performers providing consistent revenues, but they're not your top people. And there are 20% at the bottom who are new and just learning, or maybe are going to be exiting your organization soon. Think about a move the middle strategy to generate the greatest results. Let me explain that a little bit more. So many programs only focus on the top 20%, but it's likely that your top 20% have a very little additional volume to give you. You're probably already getting their maximum efforts and could only generate small incremental advances from them. They're really already doing the job for you. So incentive programs concentrating on this top 20 are really a defensive strategy. You need to defend that volume, and you certainly want to keep these top performers happy, but don't expect double-digit growth from them. To make a substantial progress and accelerate your growth, concentrate on what we call moving the middle. Offering opportunities to the middle 60% could gain a greater shift for you. These folks could grow at a higher percentage and could press harder for you. While it might be tough for your top performers to just grow like 5% with you, a middle performer might easily grow 10% or 15% or even 20% just by making one more sales call a day. So while focusing on the top 20 is playing defense, moving the middle 60% is playing offense. Many businesses find that a 5% gain in your middle 60 can generate much more than a 5% shift in your top 20. So when you're thinking about which participants to engage, Make sure that you engage the middle 60. Okay, so now you need to keep your people playing the game, but there's a lot of things vying for their time. So the simpler the rules, the better. Programs rules tell people what you want them to do and what they'll do or what they'll get when they do it. They also protect your budget. So a couple of quick rules for rules. Remember the KISS principle. If it takes more than 2 sentences to explain the primary way to earn it in your program, it's probably too complex to remember. So keep it simple, stupid, and that's the rule. Your participants have a lot of things that are competing for their time. So the simpler your message, the more incentive programs work best when you're focusing on behaviors. So you'll want to keep this in mind and be careful to limit the number of earning metrics to improve performance. Numerous studies show that the fewer metrics, the more likely people are at achieving their goals. So we suggest keeping your metrics down to 3 if possible. As you add more from there, you're probably going to see less. So here's a rule to think about for earning opportunities. To get someone in sales to change their behaviors, you would need to offer an opportunity to earn 3 to 5% of their total compensation during that program period. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so we have a rep that makes $120,000 a year in salary. You want to run a 1-month program on a specific product. To get the attention of this rep, you need to offer an opportunity to earn somewhere between $360 to $600. This means that for a 1-month program, our rep would normally earn $12,000 or a month's compensation, and that $360 to $600 is 3 to 5% of that month's compensation. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone has to actually earn that. They just need to see it as an opportunity to get their attention. Now, we could teach an entire class on funding and budgeting and financial modeling for these programs, but the way you budget for a program will drive the type of program that you can operate. Fixed budget programs have a set amount of money that will be invested regardless of the program results. This limits the program structures. Often these programs will either be competitions, so your programs or your participants are competing for a set number of awards, and the program results in winners and losers. Or there's sweepstakes, where participants are entered in a game of chance based on their results. While it is exciting for people, it could reward the person that actually did the least. Or any number of what I like to call limited award structures. For example, you could be trying to drive a sense of urgency to sell a new product and use a program that gives the first 100 people to make a sale of a new product an award. But in this kind of a program, sales number 101 earns nothing. And variable budgets are just that. They vary based on the program results. This gives you a lot more flexibility in creating a program that will influence each and every potential participant. But it means that you're probably funding the program out of sales, or more accurately, the profitability of what your participant sales. These programs could be what we call do this, get that programs. I could say, we'll give you 1,000 points for every case of product you sell. Since I don't know exactly how many you'll sell, my budget will vary based on the actual sales of the program. Variable budget programs also allow you to set individual goals and reward them when they achieve them. You could set a goal for each person to equal to last month's sales plus a stretch percentage. When the participant hits the goal, they earn a large reward. Again, because everyone can earn, you're not going to know the total budget until the program ends. Variable budgets also allow you to drive motivation even further with accelerated earnings as participants sell more. So I could offer you a small amount for every sale up to 100 units, and then 5 times that amount for every sale up to 200 units, and then reward 10 times the value for each sale over 200 units. So a program like that offers ongoing encouragement to participate, but it requires a variable budget. Now, even though there are fixed and variable budgets, when you're talking about rewards, there are some program investments that will have fixed costs. For those components, the cost is usually based on the total number of participants you have. To make any program work, you need regular communications. first to launch the program and then to keep it top of mind as long as it's running. You may need some training to teach them how to report sales or give them some sales support aids. And you will need to track performance and provide regular progress reports to keep the participants engaged. Then, there are program rewards which could be fixed or variable. While each program is different in how it allocates money for that program, a good rule of thumb is that your program communications and training will be about 10% of the overall budget. The administration and technology and performance feedback for the program will require another 10%, and rewards typically take up the lion's share of the investment. That's because rewards are tied to results. Most programs earmark about 80% of their total program investment for rewards. When you want people to change behaviors, there are some questions that you'll need to answer for them. Answering these questions fully so they're understood and accepted by participants will help align their goals with the sponsors and get them engaged with the program. You'll want to be thinking about the answers to these questions as you design the plan and when you launch the program. The first is, what is it you want me to do? If you really want them to change behavior, you also need to tell them why. Your launch communications and ongoing campaign will answer those questions and keep the program top of mind for your participants. You also need to tell them how to do what you're asking of them. Training answers this question. That could be as simple as providing some feature benefits and value training on a new product to help them discuss the product with customers. To keep the people engaged and working towards their goals, you need to tell them how they're doing. A feedback or progress reporting mechanism does this. And you must have an answer for what's in it for me to keep them focused and moving forward. That's the role of your rewards. Showing what they'll get when they do what you ask drives their performance and encourages them to continue working towards their goals. When you're talking to sales executives, they may be doing several different types of reward programs: merchandise, trophies, retail gift cards for stores or online retailers, cash cards, either reloaded or fixed, or group or individual travel programs. During your initial discussion, ask questions to learn about what they're doing, and perhaps more importantly, find out how it worked for them. And then when you find out, it will help us put together a program that will engage their participants and drive results. Okay, so you've planned out the perfect program. You've answered the 5 questions, you've come up with a catchy program theme, and you're all set to announce it to your people. Now is when understanding the sales incentive participant journey can come in really handy. That's the journey participants take as they learn about your program and decide whether to engage with you. There are 6 steps that we've identified in the participant journey: awareness, knowledge, consideration, engagement, optimization, and advocacy. It looks kind of like a buyer's journey, doesn't it? It's very similar since you're actually selling, engaging in the incentive program to your sales team or your distributors or your customer service team. Notice that the first 3 steps in this journey are all find the participant learning in the program, deciding whether or not to participate. The engagement phase is when they have made the decision to actively participate. You might have an enrollment form for them to fill out that will let you know when they're committed. Once they enroll, you're going to have to work to keep them engaged. But once enrolled, they're learning how to optimize the program for themselves. And when they really get the hang of it, they become advocates and tell their colleagues how to take advantage of the program too. Let's talk about what happens when a sales incentive works. You may have already seen one of our case studies of an auto finance company who grew their sales and relationships with the car dealers who were their channel partners. Now, there's about 30,000 auto dealers in the US, and all of them have finance managers who help buyers get financing for their new and used cars. A finance manager normally has about 3 to 4 different companies they can choose to work with to get a car loan for their customer. So staying top of mind with the finance manager is critical to your success. So Hinda put together a program that helped them increase their sales in the program's first year by a staggering 22%. That's over twice as much as the previous year's growth, and it was in that year that they were seeing fewer new car sales than in the previous year too. Every finance company wants to have a high approval rate on credit applications. That means they're getting more qualified applications. The program helped them get more than double their application approval, going from less than 23% to more than 54%. And it helped them grow the number of dealers they were doing business with. They started doing business with over 3,800 dealers that had not partnered with them before. This program operated for 5 consecutive years and only stopped when the client was acquired by a. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today for the Sales and Channel Incentives webinar. As a participant of this event, we're going to send you a sales incentive sheet as well as an ebook we produced called An Insider's Guide into Building a Successful Employee Recognition Program. The sheet will give you a high-level overview of sales and channel incentive programs, while the ebook will go into detail about how to develop that program that will effectively benefit your bottom line. We sincerely hope that you found this webinar helpful, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me or my team if you need any additional information or want to discuss sales strategies or program opportunities. We would be happy to talk with you and can engage our Hinda resources as well. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we hope you have a fantastic day.